Welcome to today's video. First, we will frame the central dilemma many face at age 30, whether to enlist in the military as a form of financial reset or to double down on a civilian pivot. Next, we will explore the trade-offs between immediate cash flow, long-term benefits, and lifestyle autonomy. Then, we'll examine the mechanics of SCRA GI Bill, 0% APR balance transfers, and practical upskilling routes. Finally, we'll end with a structured decision flow, a 90-day action plan, and quick quizzes to lock in your understanding. Here is the roadmap. First, we cover the emotional and financial context at age 30. Next, we analyze the military path, including SCRA and the GI Bill, alongside the immediate pay realities. Then, we break down a civilian pivot strategy using balance transfers and targeted certifications. Afterward, we use a decision flow and timeline to compare outcomes. Finally, we end with a 90-day plan, quick quizzes, and key takeaways. Before we proceed, please note this content is for educational purposes only. It is not financial, legal, or career advice. You should consult a licensed financial professional, a military recruiter, and, if needed, a legal professional to understand your specific situation. Furthermore, military policies, pay scales, and benefits can change, and credit products vary by issuer and credit profile. Therefore, always verify details before acting. Let's set the scene. At around age 30, many experience wage stagnation, rising living costs, and high-interest debt, with APRs often above 24%. Consequently, the idea of an institutional reset through military service can be very appealing. However, the question remains whether this choice solves the problem or simply defers it. Additionally, the non-financial realities of service, time commitment, physical demands, and lifestyle constraints must be weighed alongside economics. Let's quantify the challenge. At $22 per hour, monthly gross pay is roughly $3,520 before taxes. After taxes and deductions, take-home may be notably lower, depending on location and benefits. With high-interest debt around 24% APR or higher, a large portion of monthly payments serves as interest rather than principal reduction. As a result, progress feels slow and frustrating. Meanwhile, rent, utilities, food, transportation, and insurance keep rising, leaving limited surpluses. Therefore, any realistic plan must rapidly reduce interest costs and boost earning potential to create breathing room. Now, let's examine the military path. On the plus side, the Servicemembers Civil Relief Act caps interest rates on qualifying pre-service loans at 6%, which can slash interest dramatically. Additionally, the GI Bill, after sufficient service, covers tuition and supplies a housing stipend, creating a strong post-service education pathway. Furthermore, service can provide structure, health coverage, allowances for housing depending on location and status, and a respected credential on your resume. However, entry-level base pay can be lower than what a civilian can earn after a focused upskilling sprint. Moreover, service is a multi-year commitment with relocation potential, strict structure, and notable physical demands. Ultimately, you must want to serve beyond purely financial motives. Here is the mechanism. Under SCRA, eligible pre-service debts have their interest reduced to 6% while on active duty, often applied retroactively. Consequently, your interest burden shrinks, improving cash flow. On the other hand, the GI Bill is a powerful post-service benefit that covers tuition and includes a housing stipend and book allowance after meeting required service time. However, these benefits accrue over time, which means immediate cash flow in the first year of service may remain limited. Therefore, you must weigh near-term constraints against long-term educational and financial benefits. This flowchart helps you navigate the decision. First, it asks whether your debt interest exceeds around 20%. Next, it tests your motivation. Do you want to serve, or are you seeking escape? Then, it checks eligibility and timing constraints, age, medical, physical, and your need for cash flow relief in the next 6 to 12 months. If you need immediate cash relief and prefer civilian autonomy, the chart routes you toward balance transfers, debt avalanche, and targeted upskilling like IT support or cybersecurity. Conversely, if you genuinely desire to serve, can accept a 4-year commitment, and can manage tighter near-term cash flow, the chart points to enlistment with SCRA and a path to the GI Bill. Finally, a hybrid branch suggests delaying enlistment for several months to upskill and improve your baseline before making the final choice. Let's outline a high-impact civilian pivot. First, stop the interest bleed by seeking a 0% APR balance transfer if your credit profile allows, and negotiate with current lenders for hardship rate reductions. Next, pursue certifications with a fast return on investment such as Google IT Support, CompTIA A+, Network Plus, or Security Plus. Then, target roles like Help Desk or Junior Security Operations Analyst, with pay in the mid-20s to mid-30s per hour, depending on location and experience. Meanwhile, document your progress with labs, projects, and a portfolio on professional platforms to accelerate hiring. As a result, you may improve cash flow faster than the entry-level military pay path without sacrificing autonomy. Here is a concrete 90-day plan. First, inventory all debts and apply for a 0% APR balance transfer while setting autopay. Next, select a certification track and calendarize daily study time. Then, complete hands-on labs and begin refining your resume and LinkedIn profile. Afterward, start applying for entry-level IT support roles and practice interviews. Subsequently, schedule and pass your certification exam to strengthen your candidacy and target roles in the $25 to $30 per hour range. In parallel, consider speaking with a recruiter to understand the realities of enlistment while keeping your options open. Finally, as offers arrive, negotiate pay and adjust your budget accordingly. This timeline compares outcomes over months 0 through 48. On the civilian side, interest reduction via balance transfers begins almost immediately. Certification can be earned within 2 or 3 months. Help desk roles may be secured by months 3 to 6, and wages can grow toward $30 to $35 per hour within 9 to 18 months. On the military side, the initial months involve meeting with a recruiter, completing medical processing, and then attending basic training and job-specific training. During service, SCRA reduces qualifying pre-service interest, but entry-level pay may limit near-term cash flow. By around 36 months, GI Bill eligibility for post-service education becomes a strong asset, and by month 48, service members may plan their transition into college or skilled careers with tuition covered and a housing allowance. Let's compare money now versus money later. On the military side, early cash flow can be constrained despite SCRA interest relief. However, healthcare, potential housing allowances, and the GI Bill provide long-term value. The trade-off is a multi-year obligation and the demands of service. On the civilian side, certifications can accelerate income within months, and 0% APR transfers can rapidly improve cash flow. Nevertheless, discipline and consistent effort are essential without institutional structure. In short, the military front-loads structure and back-loads educational benefits, whereas the civilian path front-loads cash flow and flexibility. This table is illustrative and not definitive. The baseline at $22 per hour shows limited leftover after expenses and high interest costs. Under a civilian pivot at $28 per hour, 0% balance transfer can lower interest to near zero, allowing more principal repayment and higher leftover cash. For military scenarios, income includes base pay plus potential housing allowances that vary significantly by duty station and dependency status. SCRA can reduce interest, but early cash flow may remain tight until allowances, promotions, or post-service benefits increase overall financial capacity. Quiz time. The question is, under SCRA, what is the typical cap on interest rates for eligible pre-service debts while on active duty? The options are A. 3% APR, B. 6% APRC, 10% APRD. It varies by lender with no cap. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is 6% APR. Under SCRA, eligible pre-service debts are typically capped at 6% interest during active duty, often applied retroactively, which can substantially reduce monthly interest costs. Next quiz. The question is, if your goal is faster cash flow improvement within 6 to 12 months, which path usually gets you there quicker? The options are A. Immediate enlistment as E1, B. A civilian pivot with 0% APR and an entry-level IT certification, C. Waiting 2 years before acting, D. None. Both are equal. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is the civilian pivot with a 0% APR balance transfer and an entry-level IT certification. This combination commonly yields quicker improvements in monthly cash flow compared to entry-level military pay, although military benefits may be stronger over the long term. Here are the key points. First, do not enlist solely for money, because early cash flow can be tight. Second, SCRA and the GI Bill are powerful, but their benefits are realized over time. Third, 0% APR balance transfers combined with targeted certifications can improve cash flow quickly. Fourth, let your core values and life goals guide the decision, including the desire for service and structure. Finally, consider a hybrid approach by upskilling for several months before revisiting the enlistment decision. To stay accountable, consider writing your plan in Markdown. First, define a clear goal with a target payoff timeline. Next, list tactics such as balance transfers, certification milestones, and application windows. Then, track key performance indicators like hours studied per week, applications sent, and interviews or offers received. Finally, review and update your checklist weekly to maintain momentum. To conclude, do not enlist purely for financial reasons, because the immediate costs and constraints can be significant. If you want structure, service, and education benefits later, the military can be a powerful catalyst. Alternatively, if rapid cash flow improvement and autonomy are priorities, a civilian upskilling path often provides faster results. Ultimately, choose between short-term sacrifice for long-term benefits or immediate discipline for ongoing growth based on your values and goals. Thanks for watching. If you found this valuable, please like the video, share it with someone at a similar crossroads, and subscribe for more practical career and money strategies. Finally, tell us in the comments which path you're leaning toward and why, and what questions you want us to tackle next.